Welcome. Nowadays, school admission season is going on. A lot of parents come and query about what is school is good for my child. Whether should I take admission for the CBSE, ICSE or IGCSE. So that would be a topic of discussion today. In case you have any questions or queries, you can post those in the comment as we proceed. So I'll take those forward. Now, first of all, when you are deciding your school, two things matter. Firstly, the age bracket at which you are taking the admission, whether it is for the nursery or the junior group, or whether it is a class 9 plus student, right? Based on that, you would categorize which school to opt for. The second important thing that you need to take into account is the interest, facilities that are offered at the school. The third important thing from a parent's perspective is the affordability, and of course, as we discussed, the board, right? Excuse me. So when we are talking about board, there are CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and then the state boards. All of them have a little difference. What is really important is to have a thorough understanding about what do you look for the future, right? Now, many parents don't know the basic difference and the difference in the curriculum that is offered. CBSE is, of course, the most common one. Most of the students, parents, as they themselves have been part of either CBSE or state boards, because that's the most common board that most of the students go for. Now, the next is ICSE and IGCSE. IGCSE is aligned to international curriculum, right? And we could say that ICSE is an Indianized version of that international curriculum. So under IGCSE, you would focus mainly on world aspects, so world geography, world history, that's something you would study under social sciences. Even under sciences, it would be more of applied aspects that would be studied. For example, in biology, it would be extensive genetics. However, the physiology section would be missing, and the basic topics that are taught under the CBSE curriculum would not be found there, right? Under ICSE, it is an amalgamation of the curriculum from the world as well as India. So you would be studying Indian geography along with world geography, world history along with Indian history, and even for the sciences, it would be a kind of combination of both the things, right? But when we talk in terms of difficulty, if I compare CBSE, ICSE and IGCSE, I keep a little different, because the way in which IGCSE works, the A level, AS level, O level is a little different. However, CBSE and ICSE follow the 10+2 curriculum as given by the government, right? So under CBSE, the level of difficulty that is followed is the NCERT books. ICSE has a little different text than CBSE, right? So the difficulty level is nearly 1.5 times that of, we could say 1.3 or 1.5 times as of CBSE. But again, what board should you look for if your child is targeting for competitive exams? Now, when we say competitive exams, what kind of competitive exams these could be? These could be the NEET UG, the pre-medical entrance, the IIT JEE for engineering entrance, CUET, Common Universities Entrance Test, or NATA, any of these examinations which a student looks for after plus 12, right? Even CLAT. All of these are aligned more towards the syllabus which has been defined under NCERTs and CBSE, right? So if you are targeting for those competitive exams, definitely it is in line with what is there in the CBSE curriculum. Again, in the ICSE, you would have to study a lot of content which is extra. For example, even in the content of social studies, for English literature, the depth is much higher as compared to what is there in the CBSE, right? So there are pros and cons. If you are targeting for UPSC, if you are targeting for administrative services, for state administrative services, then definitely ICSE students have a better edge over it, because the extensive content that they are studying is definitely more pronounced in contrast to what is there in the CBSE. Again, for commerce student, stream selection starts under ICSE at class 9th. However, for CBSE, it is at class 11th, right? So, under the stream selection, it is predominantly only science versus commerce. So, if a student wants to pursue a career in commerce, be it CA, CFA, if you are looking for pursuing CFA, then definitely ICSE would give you a better edge in contrast to CBSE. So commerce students from ICSE background do have a benefit, because they have an option of picking commerce with maths or commerce with economics, and based on that they can decide what kind of examinations they can appear for in future. So that's again a positive plus point. The next important thing, as I mentioned, from a parent's perspective, is definitely affordability of the school. Again, as you move higher with the classes, it's self-study that becomes pronounced, and therefore school has an important role. But definitely, if a student is able to understand the concept well, has a good faculty, then you have to look into various other parameters rather than just the basic concept. So affordability is another important thing. Accessibility, how far is the school from your residence? Again, an important point, because sometimes parents have to commute for 1 hour or more to have their children to school, to a good school that they think, right? Now in that case, school is a playground for children, so you have numerous activities outside school hours. They might have to stay for a longer duration on some days, they might have certain events, there could be an evening event that could be organized, so you have to do frequent visits. So keeping that in mind, accessibility is another important criteria. Then facilities. Now when we talk about facilities for higher grades, it is the laboratory facilities, definitely, because nowadays the syllabus that is coming, even for the competitive exams like CUET, NEET and IIT, is more inclined towards practical and applicative aspects. So if a student has a good exposure to laboratory facilities, it is really good. Even for those pursuing humanities, social sciences and commerce, if they get a good basic background at a school, definitely it would be a easier way out for them as they proceed higher in their classes, right? And the next is interest alignments. Now when a child is exposed to numerous different things, it could be elements from sciences, social sciences, art, music, drama, theater. So all of these actually help bring the qualities of the child, right? And at that point we can say definitely interest is something that can develop, and if the school has a good, healthy, positive atmosphere, this is something that could be beneficial for the children. Now as I mentioned, age group, right? That's the preliminary thing. So far what we were talking about is deciding whether you should opt for a CBSE school or an ICSE school at class 9 plus, right? But at the early years, what about the initial phases of development, right? During the early phases of development, the most important thing that makes a difference is whether a child has exposure to numerous activities, outdoor as well as indoor, and has a place where they can come with their skills, with their own way of bringing the world to them, right? So during the early years, this is what makes a significant difference. So if you are thinking about very early years, usually parents come at a very early age when their child is very young, asking for whether I should opt for a CBSE school, ICSE school or an IGCSE school. At the very foundational years, it won't make a significant difference, right? But as the child grows, the level grows, the difficulty grows with academics, this would be a significant difference that would come into mind. Again, parents have a concern. I don't want to have my child being sent to other nations for higher studies. I want them to have a good future in India itself. Now in that case, what should be the schooling pedagogy, right? In that case, CBSE, ICSE works really good. IGCSE is aligned with international curriculums, as I said. So if you are targeting with the UK, Australia, then definitely IGCSE would give you a good edge over other schooling methodologies, right? Even if you are targeting for Canada, then IGCSE is a good way out, right? So what is your vision is again really important, but the most important thing is, as I mentioned some of the points here, that these should be the primary criteria that parents should keep into mind as they proceed with their studies. Now again, from the student's perspective, what is the very important concern? From a student's perspective, a really important concern is whether I'm getting a healthy atmosphere or not. A child is spending nearly 8 hours of the day every day into the school campus. So definitely the atmosphere should be healthy and positive, which promotes growth and an all-round development of the child. So specifically when we are talking about early years or the foundational years, it's really important that child has an exposure to numerous aspects, and that would help even parent understand the real creativity of the child, the real talent that a child has, and this would be helpful in determining the stream later, right? So as I said, if you are targeting for NEET, for CUET, then it is 100% aligned to the NCERT curriculum. So even if the child is in an ICSE board, it's really important that child goes through the NCERT books and refers the content there. That's really the sole basis. However, for additional references, for top-on studies, it's important that you study the additional content from the different books. There is a question from Anjali. I am an ICSE school student preparing for UPSC. My first attempt is in 2024. I think students' hard work matter. That's 100% correct, Anjali, and you are on the right point. It's really the students' hard work and the capability to comprehend. As far as exams like UPSC are concerned, I would 100% say that your comprehension skills and your way of writing should be really good. If that is on the right track, there is no reasons that you won't be able to qualify and crack the exam, right? But definitely, if you are from an ICSE board, you definitely have a deeper understanding about world history. A lot of concepts of world history, world geography, the international aspects are not covered under a CBSE curriculum, but they have or they tend to develop insight for the students, and that's really important for answer writing, as I said in the very beginning. So definitely those foundations do matter, and even those who are from the CBSE can have an additional resource. As I usually say, cover your NCERTs in the first round if you are looking for CBSE for your UPSC preparation. Once you have covered your NCERTs, do a top-on study with ICSE books if time permits. If it does not, then definitely the daily editorials would give you a regular practice onto developing an insight or an opinion about certain things. So Anjali, I do agree with the point that you have mentioned. There is no shortcut to hard work, and ultimately it's hard work that pays, right? So definitely work hard, prepare well. Thanks, Anjali. It's my pleasure. And okay, definitely thanks a lot for that. But yes, for all others who are looking to prepare either for your UPSC, or as I mentioned, if you are from a commerce background looking for a career as CA, CS, or pursuing the CFA degree, then you do have a good insight from the very early years, and this gives you a real foundation for your better future, right? So definitely understanding the boards matter, but that's not the only thing. There has to be multiple things that have to be taken into account when you are selecting the school, not just the real board. So that was the idea for the lecture today. I hope this session was useful, and since it's an admission season going on across the country, most of the parents at this time are looking for the right school and the right approach for them. Those who want to have a personal guidance or mentorship can definitely connect back to the number that we have provided for more information, or you can simply drop us an email at admin@examrace.com. Thanks for joining in today. Have a wonderful evening ahead.